Kia ora, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. And my name is Phil. I'm going to be helping out in hosting today's event for the Māori and Pasifika Super Fair. And first off today, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a 40-minute panel session and then followed by a 20-minute, 20-minute employer presentations. But to start though, I'm actually going to pass the reins over to Sione. And he's going to do the karakia, apologies, and to kick off today's panel session. So Sione, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Kia ora, Philip. Thank you very much. He nui tātou. Whakataka te heu ki te uru, whakataka te heu ki te tonga, kia mākina kina ki uta, kia mātaratara ki tai, e hi ake ana, ti a tākura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei mauri ora. Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you for the introduction. Welcome everybody to the panel. Thank you for everybody for taking their time. Naomi, we have made special mention of what you've said, so we'll make sure that you get in and give us your spiel. But yeah, just to kick off, team, we'll just go around. I don't know if it's a circle, but I'll call out names just according to my screen, and we'll just do introductions first and foremost. So just to kick us off, Ryan, we'll come to you, please, and then we'll pass the baton on from there. Thank you very much.
Kia ora. Thanks, Sione. So my name is Ryan Jacobs. I am the program manager for talent and well-being at Downer, New Zealand. Really excited to be here today to kind of talk about some of the opportunities that exist at the organization, but even more so just talking about the industry as a whole. And it's a great time to be young engineers coming into this industry and talking about what opportunities exist. And I think, really what I'm really excited to talk about is some of the changes that we're seeing right now. We talk a lot about the fact that we build leaders and we're looking to build the future leaders. And I think that the leaders of today look very different than the leaders of yesterday. And I think that, or the leaders of tomorrow look different than the leaders of today. And I think that there is a way in which we look to support that, and the way in which we look to build that is really great. And I think that's happening across the board with a lot of the employers that are on this panel today. So really looking forward to just having this conversation and talking to some students about that. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ryan. Yeah, great. We'll definitely be coming back for more. We'll make our way down on my screen. And Margaret, if we can come to you, please. Oh, Margaret, you're mute. The classic Zoom etiquette. Sorry, I should. There we go.
Sorry, mouse not working properly there. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Margaret McNeil. I work as a senior talent acquisition specialist at Stantec. I look after various roles, but at this time of year and into July, August, my specialism is around graduates and then interns. And I have a special passion for graduates because they have that passion back, if you like. And looking forward to, talking a bit more about, as Ryan was saying, what opportunities there are and how things have progressed. And certainly since I was a graduate. Just looking forward to hearing from the other panelists and any questions that we might, specific questions we might have. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Talk soon.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Margaret. And we'll come down to the dynamic duo, Melissa and Mel. Over to you, please.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Right, I'm Mel and I do all the wage recruitment for the North Island for Fulton Hogan. So I do everything minus Auckland at the moment, and it's manic out there. There's so much happening. I'm sure you're all in the same boat as well, just with how we're all going for the same candidates. We're all after all the same people. And yeah, it's a really exciting time actually. The growth, especially since from COVID, has just taken off. So it's a fantastic time for us.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm the talent acquisition business partner at Fulton Hogan for infrastructure services for the North Island. I am actually fairly new to Fulton Hogan. I just joined about 4 weeks ago. But just to echo Mel's sentiment in terms of there's a lot of opportunities for grads and entry levels into the various businesses. And we're just really excited to share about Fulton Hogan and what grads or what they can benefit from on our graduate program.
Fantastic. Nothing like getting thrown in the deep end on your 4th week of work, Melissa. So great to have you on the panel. Naomi, just before we start with you, because I know you're pressed for time, just a reminder to everybody who's on this part of the call with construction and engineering, if you would have any questions for the panelists throughout this corridor, feel free to type them into the chat box, and we'll make sure that those get out to the panelists this afternoon. Yeah, so Naomi, the floor is yours, and also we might as well kick off. You know, what would attract people to Babcock, and what are you looking for in terms of graduates after your intro, obviously?
Yeah, I guess first of all to share, I am very sorry that I can't stay for the whole session. Samuel, who is our early careers lead, has tested positive for COVID. He's really not feeling well at the moment. So I didn't have a lot of notice to attend this meeting. So I wanted to at least come and say hello and make sure that Babcock were here. So I've only got the 15 minutes with you, so I am really sorry. So my role is talent acquisition manager. So our region, so we are a global company, our region is Australasia, which is Australia and New Zealand. We have an early careers program which has been in place within our Auckland or our New Zealand part of the business for a few years, and really successful, especially, you know, bringing the interns and then feeding them through to graduates and then staying on, which has been fantastic. We recently, at the end of last year, implemented a graduate program in Australia as well, and this year we'll kick off internships. So I think from a Babcock perspective, a lot of investment now going into the early careers piece, including you know, working on being able to provide those graduates, especially some very, very meaningful work that's actually going to be adding a lot of value to our business. We're going to be structuring things a little bit differently, which I can't talk too openly about. I sound like a secret squirrel at the moment, but it's going to mean some really exciting things that our early careers cohort are going to be able to work on and progress in their career really quickly. I forgot, but I'm so sorry. I missed your first question.
No, I think you've already answered it anyway by default, Naomi. So that's awesome. It's, I think whenever you mention the word secret and squirrel, people's ears are perked up, and you know, they're enticed to that. But I guess coming back to you, Ryan, you know, you've touched on this time of opportunity, and especially coming out of COVID. I think a cool question is what's attracted you to Downer, and then yeah, how do you feel that would also attract others coming after the undergrad study?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been with Downer for 4.5 years now, and in this role for the last 3 years. So I look after all of our young professionals and our talent pipeline nationally across the business, as well as our national well-being portfolio. And so the two of those programs, they really they go hand in hand in a lot of way when we think about well-being and, you know, where that sits currently, you know, and also then the talent pipeline and the young generation that's coming through the business now. But I guess the thing for me that has you know, attracted me to Downer, and is what's kept me at Downer, has been, you know, you're working with passionate people, and I think that we are in this generation now where in this industry we have, I'm going to deem this in a polite way, as aging assets that are starting to phase themselves out of the business. And there is a lot of knowledge that will be lost when those assets retire. And so when we there's an element of, we have to bridge that gap, that knowledge gap. And so we're spending a lot of time right now on really trying to figure out how we can merge not just getting young professionals coming in with development, but how we can actually get collaboration between our young professionals and our senior leaders to really have that kororū, and how we actually can have that knowledge share, because there's so much to be learned from the experience that's about to walk out the door. And so that's something that, you know, we're spending a lot of time on right now. And for me, that's something I'm really passionate about. I love seeing, you know, I'm by no means an engineer by background, but I look at our role and the work that I do as a facilitator of opportunity. We are in an industry where there is a lot of opportunity right now. And so our role is to try and facilitate the opportunity and then support the development of those, you know, the young talent that's coming through our organization. So, you know, it's an exciting time to be in the space that we're in right now. I think it's a frustrating and difficult time as well. You know, we can all probably relate to some of the struggles and difficulties that we're going through. But at the same time, it's, you know, for young talent coming in, a great opportunity for you to really see some development and really start looking at, you know, having a really fruitful career going forward. So, you know, I think that as far as wherever you decide to start your career, whether it's, you know, with a contractor or a consultant, wherever it might be, it's about finding something that resonates for you, but also making sure that you take the time to invest in your development as well. You know, and that's something that I would really emphasize, is the importance of that early in your career, is that time to invest in yourself and that development.
Oh, fantastic advice, Martin. Yeah, I feel like we should be paying for the sessions, but yeah, we'll put it on Afterpay and get back to you later on. Eh? But Margaret, I saw you nodding profusely. So it's coming down to you. I think it's easy to tell that people are passionate on this. But I guess for you, Margaret, what's something you're seeing in your time in this role that would really benefit somebody in their first year? So, you know, they've got the yes, and they're sort of just adjusting from university to work life, especially in this area.
Yeah, I was thinking about that before the call and just now, and I was thinking that the students who graduated last year and the year before have had quite a hard time because of the pandemic, because I mean we have an official graduate program over 2 years, and there's lots to be learned from that. Great for students to meet their peers across the country. We now got quite big that we used to do it Australia, New Zealand combined, but I think, you know, hiring some like 26 or 30 graduates in New Zealand, it's enough of a session to have just the New Zealand ones. But saying that, there is opportunity to travel a bit as well. So yeah, we have a young developing professionals group that you can start as a graduate, but after your 2 years, that continues probably. Well, for the first 10 years, we consider people developing, and that's a very active group of people who make sure that, particularly if you're trying to get your chartership, they have sessions with some of the senior engineers and really learn from that. But I think one of the things you cannot get away from, and Ryan touched on that, our wise heads that we will lose eventually. And there's nothing like being in the office and sucking up all that information, the discussions that I had. You pick up nuggets, and also that, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? Which, working from home, it's harder to do. You're not there in the moment. So I would always say, try and you know, network as wide as you can. We have people in the States and Canada and Europe, across the world, that people they're always willing to give of their knowledge, and that's one thing I've noticed. The other thing, I've been with Stantec for 17 years this year, so it's quite a long time, and seen a change. Actually, you have cyclic things. When I first joined back in whenever it was, 2005, things were going great guns, and then you had the GFC, and a couple of years we hardly took on any graduates. So I would say this year, last year, next year, it's a great time to be here. There's so much work. The government's put so much money into infrastructure, which is the area we specialize, but we've got other exciting things in urban planning and building services. So modeling, it's not the only thing, but I would just say take those opportunities, ask a lot of questions. I don't know if that's answered your question, but
No, perfect. We're definitely on the same page. Thank you for that, Margaret. Naomi, just before, I know you have to drop off, but just before you drop off, Naomi, my question to you is, what about the Babcock culture really appeals to you and would be important for those who are on the, is this a call? I don't even know what you call this anymore. But yeah, who are on with us this afternoon?
You know, when people ask me about the Babcock culture, I like to talk about my own experience. As I know it, and I've been with Babcock for just over 1.5 years, and it is genuinely one of the greatest organisations I've worked with. We're not this massive, even though we're a global company, I guess within our region, we're not too big that you get lost or forgotten. You know, we're just at that really good, comfortable size, even though there's lots of growth still happening. We're at a really good size where there's you know everyone. You get to meet everyone, know everyone. Everyone is so supportive, regardless of what contract they're working on, what part of the business area, what their role is. There's a lot of support, across the entire business, which is wonderful. And I think, more and more we're working at a more global level as well in terms of, connecting, with our peers globally. And there's certainly opportunity to do that as part of our graduate program as well. That's definitely something. There's a global, well, a group graduate program, and that's something that we're leaning on. But yeah, it's just, I'm sure where we all work is similar. We're really investing a lot within our early careers area of the business. So I think that's really important to know. We're encouraging our early careers cohort to not only build those strong relationships amongst themselves, which we see they are, but also, wider than that. So yeah, it's a great culture. It's very supportive, a huge amount of opportunity and growth coming ahead, which is great. I did notice that in the chat we've got Babcock, you've provided websites for all of us, which is wonderful. I'm just going to add the correct one to go to for Babcock. The one that's on there will take you to our global page. Absolutely go there, have a look. I've just put through our local one. I'm just trying to think of the date. By Monday next week, we'll actually be launching an early careers landing page. So you can go there and learn a huge amount more about early careers at Babcock, the 4 streams that we have. And also applications for our next cohort open on Monday as well. So for interns for this year, but also graduates. Something to note is our graduate program where we'll be focusing on engineers and project management. That program actually commences in November this year. So yeah, applications will open on Monday.
Thank you very much.
And I'm happy for questions to be sent through to me. You've got my details, Sion, so feel free to send anything through. And yeah, I'm happy to answer questions after as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for taking the time to jump on. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. And coming down to the ladies from Fulton and Hogan, thank you for doing the switch. You didn't tell me you're part-time magicians, but that's awesome. But obviously, Melissa, you're new to the space as well, right? And so I guess what's been the learnings in your first 4 weeks at Fulton and Hogan that I think you can sort of pass on to those who are going to come in to start their careers.
Well, thank you so much for bearing with us. We actually got kicked out of the room, so the joys of working back in the office. So my first 4 weeks. I have actually had the opportunity to travel to the lower part of the North Island, and so I work with Mel on the roles in the lower North Island. And I think in terms of the theme that really actually comes across in terms of Fulton Hogan is that family business. They really pride themselves on being a New Zealand business, a New Zealand established business. And I think not just even more to that is a New Zealand South Island established business. Like that's something that they're very, very proud of. And also the fact that the head office is actually in Christchurch, which is something very, unique for New Zealand, because a lot of businesses are based in Auckland or in Wellington. So that kind of that theme seems to come through in terms of how they pride themselves as a business. The other thing too is very much there's opportunity to grow within the business. So you can start off as a grad, or you can start off as in entry-level roles. And if you have the drive and the ambition, they will help you in terms of getting your tickets or, what you need to grow. And they talk about people who started off as, the lollipop guys, and they're running divisions now. They've been in the business 11 years or 15 years or 20 years, or I think 27 years was one guy that we met. So it's that, it's that family environment, coming into the business, being part of a family. And that's kind of what's really, really stood out in terms of the business, and I guess the culture of the business. But I guess Mel's been with the business a year.
Yeah.
And so she might be able to give a little bit of her insights.
Like the business for me, like I've come from the Defence Force, and it's a very, very different entity being in the civilian world. And this is what certainly surprised me about Fulton Hogan, is how much they want to do for the staff as well. Like the new incentives they're bringing out, all your basics, your life insurance, your medical insurance for you and your family, retail discounts, fuel cards. So it's not just about bringing people in and giving them, opportunities of employment. They're also trying to do this wraparound package as well to give you this additional support that also looks after your family. I mean, life insurance for your family, medical insurance, I should say, for your family from day one. That's what we're bringing in now. So, I mean, that's a massive thing at the moment, when we're especially in an environment out there that everything is so unknown. So yeah, same thing as Melissa, just the guys that start out at the bottom and just work their way up, and they're still just your regular people as well. Nothing's too much for anybody that I come across in my dealings with anybody out there in Fulton Hogan. So it's just been a really interesting experience, actually, completely different world from what I've come from, and just I think exciting for anybody wanting to come into that.
No, amazing. Thank you, ladies. And yeah, Mel, you can tell you come from the Defence Force when you call it civilian world, eh? But it's, it's awesome to have you here. Thank you for the insights. And Ryan, coming back to you, I think an important part for a lot of new grads is development opportunities. So I guess from your perspective in Downer, what does that look like? Obviously, the ladies talked about coming in, at various levels and just being able to progress. So yeah, just a bit of insight, please. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that development comes in all shapes and sizes. There's always there's technical capability that can be learned through a number of different ways. I think a lot of programs out there right now, including our own, is there is a lot of growth through practical exposure. So whether it's rotation-based programs or whether it's seconded programs to kind of really get students that broad base of knowledge to see different elements of a business or different elements of kind of that early stage of development. Often you come out of university, and for those that come and join a contractor like ourselves, or Fulton, or any of some of the other contractors that are out there, there's a plethora of career pathways that exist within the world of contracting that doesn't always get necessarily communicated in through university. And so there's an element of just exposing graduates and young professionals to that world. But then there's an element of the soft skills, the communication skills, the leadership training. You know, I look at our program in particular. I call it an incubator and accelerator for future leaders. But you know, leaders come in all shapes and sizes. There's lots of different types of leaders out there. So it's about figuring out, you know, what type of leader do you want to be, and giving people the opportunity to really grow and nurture some of those skills by learning different leadership styles, learning different communication styles, learning the power of networking, the power of, you know, dealing with the you know, project management, time management, some of these soft skills. And I think the term soft skills is demeaning to actually the importance of the skills. So I recently heard somebody call them power skills, and I really like that, because it's actually, those are the things that we really want to try to empower into our young cohorts, you know, as they come forward and as they develop. So we spend a lot of time in investing in that, and then really trying to provide that support in that community. You know, I think that it's important, again, as I kind of touched on it at the beginning, but it's that the diversity of our young professionals coming through right now is a very, very different makeup of what we've seen in the past. And there is an element of support that needs to be wrapped around that community as they grow through the business. And that comes from everything from, you know, having different cultural backgrounds, having, you know, we have a huge number of, you know, female engineers that are coming through the business right now. And there's a lot of support that's going in that space as well. And it's about supporting and empowering our different, you know, diverse groups within our organization to feel included, to feel that inclusive kind of culture, and to really hearing those different voices going through. So development comes in a lot of different places, but it really is about the individual and investing in individuals, and not just investing in business need.
No, very, very cool. Thank you for that, Ryan. Awesome. And Margaret, I think Ryan's touched on it a bit in terms of, you know, just especially this time now of diversity and inclusion, and in particular Māori and Pacific with today's super fair. So yeah, in terms of Stantec, how is that out working for you? Because obviously you've been there for a little while as well, and how have you seen the change?
Yeah. Oh, well, from the beginning, there really wasn't anything that we did especially for in that area. And I was thinking about this question. We currently have a lovely guy called Iru, and he is a sort of specialist Māori consultant who he's started off doing podcasts for us during lockdown. It was a nice thing to do. And then as we do proposals, it's part of what, you know, the question is asked, and we want to be not just be seen, but actually be doing something in that space. And he has been great on advising us and encouraging us what we can do. And so he's really involved with our team. He sits near our community development team, because there's a lot of work goes on in our planning team, and you know, anything around iwi, the discussions we have. He's a great advisor, or he'll come along. The other thing I was thinking, one of the members of my team in HR, she was an HR business partner, but she's based in Perth in Australia. And she had a particular interest in the Indigenous population, you know, section in Australia. So because of the interest now in the diversity, and I'll have to read this, get her title correctly. She's a global inclusion, diversity and equity consultant. And she is always bringing to our attention things that we can do in the space and encourage those to you know, either get into studying in engineering or planning or environmental sciences, or what we can do events like this or anything that's going on, she points us in the right direction. She's a good person to talk to get advice. She herself, she's come from, I'm trying to think what country, but she was from overseas somewhere. English is her second language, so she's gone through the, trying to be accepted within the community. The other thing we do, and one of the sponsors here, TupuToa. Is it TupuToa? A couple of our leaders are investigating the cadetship program there. They were going to see if we could get some people involved this year. It sounds like it's such a good scheme, and it would benefit us as well. But I would say we do cadetships, and for those who are not so much wanting to do the 2, 3, 4 years of study full time, we would take you on as a school leaver and do the earn as you learn kind of thing, and then you're in with the people and you're talking. So it's another way of getting to the same place. And honestly, we found such loyal people who do our cadetships. They really get embedded. So I don't know. It's probably other things that we do, but reaching out to the community. And what I would say, I'm looking at the questions. Our graduate opportunities have closed, but anybody on this call interested in working in regions like Tauranga or Nelson or Dunedin, then feel free to reach out to me. We might have some opportunities there if you're prepared to go to not Auckland or Wellington or Christchurch. So.
Thank you very much, Margaret. Appreciate it. And obviously, coming to you, Melissa and Mel, and that area. So Mel, you've been there for a year now. How have you seen this sort of space of diversity and inclusion sort of play out with Fulton and Hogan in your time there so far?
It is something we're certainly trying to make big leaps and bounds in. Like we're trying to, especially like with women as well, really trying to get that out there with Pacific and Māori, and really trying to touch, what am I trying to say? Get out there to as many sort of different platforms as we can to let people know that we're out there. Also trying to just sort of, because we've got a lot of fantastic women, Pacific and Māori, and got all sorts here at Fulton Hogan. So it's just about really showing that we have that here, letting people know that we have that here, because I don't think sometimes it's very visual. So that's something that is down to us to get that out there and get that seen. But because I think the business itself, we do have a really good diversity and culture background here and feeling, but it is also still something that we're trying to, take leaps and bounds and make better, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think also working in a predominantly male-dominated environment, it's always going to be something that we would want to strive for. And I'm sure everybody, that's like, we want to get more women into engineering, we want to get more Māori and Pasifika into, engineering. So yeah, it's something that you, as a business, you will always. Did I just go off the screen?
No, you're there.
No, you're good. You're good, Melissa. You're good.
Sorry, did I go? Something happened to my screen.
No, we can still see you and hear you, so you're fine.
Okay. So yes, I mean, it's always something that in terms of, and I guess because I've only been at Fulton Hogan for 4 weeks, but going down the line and and actually probably in more of the smaller centers. Like we were in Masterton, and they were talking about a girl that had come on as a traffic controller, and like she was loving it, and I was like, this is the stuff, this is the kind of stuff that we want to showcase and show people that, you know, it's more than just the blokes. Like there are females out there doing stuff on the line, and then obviously rising up through the ranks. But I mean, in terms of the graduate program, so we actually are going to open up our program to all the different centres, the various centres around the North Island. So we have roles, and it's in engineering, it's in environmental, it's in structural. We've got a variety of graduate positions, and it's everything from like Whangarei to Tauranga, New Plymouth, Hawke's Bay, Palmerston North, Gisborne, Wellington. So it's kind of like, because obviously we don't look after the North Auckland region, but it's about getting, you know, identifying the talent within those smaller regions and finding a home for them. You know, they can do the work that they want to do on the ground in their local region and contribute to their local region. So I think that's the other thing too about Fulton Hogan, that, you know, in terms of we're on the ground there at that local level, and where grads coming from, whether it's those technical institutes rather than in the universities, they want to stay in those areas. They've studied those disciplines and they want to stay in those areas. And so that's where we're like, we want you to stay in those areas. We need you to stay in those areas, like, you know. So for us, it's about creating that awareness to all the different walks of life, and obviously starting with the grads.
So good. Thank you so much, ladies. I think what I'm really encouraged about is everybody who's spoken today has just spoken about opportunities. And I think, look, when you're finishing your study, that's all you want to hear. And so thank you for sharing your insights. We're about to land the plane. We've got about 1 minute each left. So the last question is, in one sentence, people, and we'll start with you, Ryan, and we'll come back to the dynamic duo down in Fulton Hogan. In one sentence, why should somebody or somebody about to graduate apply for your organization? And also, this is what I'm keen to hear, is what's one piece of advice you would give them? I know you've already been giving it. It's almost that question, like if you could talk to your younger self, what would you say to them? So you first, please, Ryan.
Okay, cool. So I guess one piece of advice, or why to start a career at, it's hard for me, to be honest, it's hard for me to say why start a career at Downer. I think it's important for you to think about where is the right fit for you, and everybody is going to find that through the people that they go to. But for me, it's about, what we're providing is a career pathway, not just a job. And that's the thing that we're looking at, is investing in people, not just investing in resource that we need to fulfill a job. And that's the difference that I find about working at Downer and what we're focused on. I guess advice to a younger version of myself would be not to think that every step needs to be a progression forward, and that some steps are lateral, and that sometimes you can actually realize how much you can transfer skills. Don't be discouraged away from not having the exact skill set that you might see on an application, or well, I don't have that qualification, I don't have whatever it is. Businesses right now want to invest in people, and if you have drive, if you have ambition, if you're curious, all of those things are the things that are going to get opportunity for you. And businesses want to help you grow. So don't be intimidated to apply if you don't think you have the skill set. So much of it is about who the individual is. And right now, as I said, and I've talked about it before, it's, we're in an area right now where it is a shortage of resource across the country in every sector. And the New Zealand as a country, we are in a situation where we really want to grow, talent within this organization, and that means providing them the skills as they develop their career. So, just encourage people if to connect and to reach out. You've got people on this call today. don't be afraid to actually connect in with people. And if you have questions, you know, it makes a big difference when you reach out, connect in on LinkedIn, connect in at these fairs, come out and be there, because that's how you can really get your foot in the door as well. You know, application processes can be daunting, and I'm well aware of that, but at the end of the day, it's just people on the other side of that. So find ways to connect in with those people, and yeah, lots of opportunity out there.
Thank you, Ryan. And over to you, Margaret, for your final minute, please.
Okay. Well, I would say I'll be brief, and I think there are so many diverse opportunities within Stantec for your development. Yeah, I think, and the advice, be yourself. I think, you know, that comes out, but later, if you can't be yourself, you're not going to enjoy your work. And we want to have a whole diverse range of people. You don't have to be a stereotype. And also, you'll have fun along the way. One of the reasons I'm still here is that every year is different. Great people to work with. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you, Margaret. And then to land our plane this afternoon, Melissa, now over to you, please. Thank you very much.
Cool, thank you. Why Fulton Hogan? I think it's, well, it's an opportunity in terms of being at the forefront of helping to build New Zealand in the different areas in terms of the infrastructure world. It's also an opportunity to grow within the business. You can, when you start off as a grad, there are obviously a pool of grads around you, but then you get to see the people who have gone on from graduate programs into the business. So you almost can see where your future can take you, as well as having behind you the Fulton Hogan name, both in New Zealand and obviously in Australia. So it's kind of, you know, you're coming into a huge network. So it's that opportunity to grow into obviously your first role and then your future career.
And then Mel, my advice, be a sponge. Take it all in, ask a lot of questions, learn a lot, just be so open to learning, and just put your hand up if you want to know more as well. Just take in as much as you can and just go from there. Don't be afraid to take up the challenge.
Thank you so much, team. Really appreciate the time. I feel like it's something we could talk a lot longer on, but you know, we'll stick to time. And I really do honor you, and I look forward to seeing what happens from this, and all the people who are encouraged from just your advice, but also your wisdom and knowledge and insight into this area that's very, very open at the moment. So yeah, have an awesome day. Thank you. And I'll hand it back to you, Philip.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Siona, and thanks for that for everyone as well. That was awesome to hear.